All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. Monty Weaver here. Today, we are going to talk about how to get clients using social media. Okay, how to get clients using social media, or how to get more people to see what it is that you're doing using social media. All right, if you're brand new here, welcome. My name is Monty Weaver. Join me every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube and also on Facebook. But come on, hang out with YouTube. It's a little bit funner over here on the YouTube side of things. You get to see a little bit more in the chat, be more interactive over here. If you want to donate to the live stream, you got all the cool functionalities over here on the YouTube side of things. So come on over if you're on the Facebook side. But I'm going to be talking about how to get clients with social media tonight. Okay. So if you have questions around this subject, make sure that you go ahead and start to put those in the chat. Good to see everyone here. I saw Bernade here early. I saw Sam here. I saw Uri. Good to see you. I think you're new here to the live stream. So I appreciate all you guys for coming and hanging out with me. So I want you guys to start putting in the chat what it is that you do, especially if you're new here, because I love to use real-time examples for context around any conversations that we have here to make sure that it's worth your time to show up here on the live streams and to participate. So let me know what it is that you do to help frame this conversation tonight. Now, when it comes to using social media to get clients, you really want to make sure that you are doing the things to get clients' attention. Okay. You want to make sure that you're getting their attention. And that is the biggest part of social media, is that we know everyone is on their phones. We know that everyone is on their tablets. Okay. So we want to figure out a way to get their attention. And we have to, what I call, stop the scroll. Okay. So we have to stop them from scrolling in their tracks. So that is one of the main and the hardest parts of social media, is to get people to stop to see what it is that you're doing. So you have to be creative. Okay. You have to see what's going on in the marketplace to really get them to identify with the message that you're putting out there. All right. So let me see what you guys got going on over here. Roz, I see you over here, but you missed our check-in time 15 minutes prior to kind of do some checks to make sure everything is working, because I can't restart. And Melon says I have to go live at 7 p.m. So, but keep trying, see if you're able to get in and join us for the conversation. So let me jump over here. And speaking of Melon, let me make sure I get my microphone up here so you guys can hear me too. Shout out to Melon for sponsoring these live stream broadcasts. This is the live streaming platform that I use to go live here every Monday. So as we talk about how to get clients, live streaming is one of those important ways to actually get clients. So if you haven't checked out the Melon software, make sure that you do that, especially if you want to tap more into the live stream. Okay. If you want to tap more into live streaming. All right. So let's get back into it. So the first one we talked about was getting attention. Okay. When you're on the different platforms, you want to identify how users are taking part on those platforms, and each platform is going to be different. Each platform has its own its own thing that it likes, per se. Like certain platforms like pictures, some certain platforms like video, um, some platforms like text, right? So there's all these different elements that we have to consider when we're going live on social media platforms, or when we're posting on social media platforms. And these different elements will resonate with different people. Not everybody's going to resonate with a picture. Not everybody's going to resonate with a video. Not everybody's going to resonate with text. So you have to think about what will resonate with your audience. All right. So I love platforms like YouTube. It's a video platform, right? YouTube is primarily video. We also do have some pictures that can go in there in the community tab. If anybody's familiar with kind of checking out some of the community tab features, we see the pictures there, but you don't see a lot of text per se as the dominant factor on a platform like YouTube. So, if you're going to be dominant heavy on a platform like YouTube, you have to embrace the video element because that's the biggest part of that particular platform, right? And then if we jump over and kind of look at a platform like Pinterest, we know that it's heavily focused on pictures and maybe some descriptions that go along with it. You're not going to see video heavy content on that particular platform. So knowing what the platforms like, what they're built for, and then also how to combine that with your audience is going to be something that you really want to pay attention to get clients leveraging social media. All right. So let me see who's got going on here. What's going on, Chris? Good to see you here. I hope you're back in town from all the road trips. All right, let me see. And we're trying to see if we can get our guest on here. All right. All right, finally made it home. Good, good, good. Um, Being on the road is something. I did move some stuff around in the studio, Chris. I did move a couple things around, more so to more so for our Amazon and Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So I actually not only just moved stuff in here, but also moved stuff downstairs in the living room today too. So started getting up the Christmas tree, and what turned into putting up the Christmas tree turned into moving the couches around. So um, definitely, definitely did not plan on moving everything around today, but it didn't take too long. Um, all right, let's jump back into this. Thank you. Nice gear there. Yes, we got a lot of gear here. So let's jump back into this. How to get clients using social media. All right. Now, after we've created an awareness, a way for customers to potentially see who we are, we want them to engage. Okay. So how do we get them to engage? We ask questions. Okay. So we get their attention. We ask questions. We ask for feedback. We ask their opinion. And you guys know what I think about opinions. Everybody has one. So just be ready if you ask for someone's opinion. You ask these different questions to spark engagement because each of these platforms, each of these social media outlets, they love engagement. They want to keep people on their platform as long as possible. So the more that you get people to engage on your particular platform, the more that these platforms will essentially reward you by showing your information, your content to more people. Now, asking questions is something that I like to do, or actually embracing like the reality, posting things that are real, that people really can resonate with. I think of things like pets, animals. If you're in that industry, everyone is going to comment or leave some type of response or hit a like button at the least because they can resonate with what it is that post is. So you want to make sure that once you get the attention, you want to also think about that step two. How do you get them to leave a comment? How do you get them to hit the like button? And in some cases, like on YouTube, how do you get them to hit the dislike button? The platforms want engagement, and getting that engagement is going to be important for you to organically reach more people. I think about sometimes when we post, especially like on the Facebook platform, we'll make a post and you won't see that post, or I should say, other people won't see that post. But you can make another post, and then all of a sudden, it seems like everybody sees that post. Okay, so platforms will reward you if you play the game according to their rules. So make sure that if you notice when you're posting something and it's not getting a lot of traction, it's not getting a lot of engagement, think about what is causing that. Think about whether or not you would even click on it. Would you even respond to it? What are these different elements about that particular post that just don't get someone to respond? Okay. the more that you create posts that don't get responses, chances are your next post is not going to get responses as well. So you want to make sure that you're not posting a whole bunch of content that's not being engaged upon. It's just not going to, it's not going to reward you in the long run. How many times have we, somebody might have come across our minds and you're like, hey, let me go check and see what they're doing, because you haven't seen them post in a while. Maybe you follow them on another application and they just became front of mind to you, and then you'll go to their particular platform and notice that all of the content is like the same type of content, and none of it is getting engagement. So it's not just you that's not seeing their posts, it's a lot of people that are not seeing their posts. Now, if we flip the script and you're that person where you're noticing, okay, no one is responding to anything I put up. You put up a webinar link to something, you put up a class URL to something, you want people to come and join you at something. Maybe it's an inspirational quote, whatever it is. If you're noticing that it's not getting the response that it needs to get or that you feel it should get, you want to look at, is that post something that is even worthy of getting a response? Okay. On these platforms, we really want to keep people engaged on the platform as much as possible. So you want to think about ways when you're creating these posts and creating this content, how to keep people there as long as possible. Okay. So don't always create content that takes people off of the platform. Don't always think about how you can have a lead magnet to go somewhere else, because that's not going to be good overall in the long run. There are times where you're going to actually need to do that. There are times where you're going to want to send people to a different location, a website, a webinar, whatever that is. But doing it over and over and over again is not what any of these platforms want. So there are different ways to go about doing that, and we'll have to talk about that in a different class, a different live stream. But these are some things I want you guys to keep in mind when it comes to creating the content on social media, especially if you want the content to actually be seen. All right. So creating things that get people's attention, and then also getting people to engage on the content. All right. What's going on, Miss Veronica? Good to see you here. If you guys have any questions, let me know on YouTube and on Facebook as we continue to dive into this. And again, let me know what it is that you guys do and how you are either using and leveraging social media, or what you want to accomplish using social media. Okay. Let me make sure that I didn't miss anybody's comments over here. All right, good to go. Let's see here. I'll put my own notes in the chat over here on Facebook real quick. So awareness and engagement. Okay. Next one I want to talk about is action. Okay. How do you get people to take the action past the engagement? Okay. How do you get them to actually come back to you again? All right. We create content, it gets seen, they like it, they leave a comment, but how do you get people to come back over and over and over again? Well, part of that is really learning your audience. Okay. And I was in a Clubhouse conversation yesterday, I believe it was, and we were talking about asking these qualifying questions essentially that allow you to understand your audience better, because sometimes you'll have people that show up on your social media that aren't your target audience. So very quickly, it sounds kind of bad, but you just have to do it. You have to wean those people off your social media if they're not going to be a customer of yours, if that's the reason you're using social media, because it essentially doesn't allow other people that could be your potential customers to see your content. So every so often, I will actually go in and do a purge, especially on Facebook. I will just go in and do a purge and see who is not engaging on my content, because if they're not engaging, one or two reasons is because either they're not seeing it, or two, they're just not going to be a good fit for my content. So you go in, you clean it out, you purge it, do it once a quarter, twice a year type of thing. You don't have to go in there every single day and scroll down your feed. Who's not following me today? And you just start deleting. You don't need to do all of that. There are actually apps that help do this as well. They actually go through especially on Facebook. I'll say this more so for Facebook. They'll go through, what's going on, Sid? They'll go through your profile, and it will actually scan to see who is engaged, and it'll let you know, like, from most engaged all the way down to never engaging. Engaging on social media or on Facebook, more so if they're hitting like buttons, if they're leaving comments, if they're sharing your content, and it'll just show you the results of that. And so you can go through and select delete, 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 delete. Okay. I know I get a lot of like friend requests from Amazon sellers these days, and I don't know who they are, but all they want to do is send you a friend request, but then they don't respond. They don't do anything. So, these people, I'll end up going back in and hit delete, 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 delete. That will allow other people to see my content on social media. So there's a lot to think about, right, when you are using social media, because some of us aren't trying to be on it all day, every day. Like, it's a whole new world in itself, where it's just online and straight digital. So being able to use it more strategically, especially in business, is something that you want to figure out very quickly how to use it, and use it to your benefit, and not just be on it just to sit there and scroll all day long, because we all have better things to do than just scroll on social media all day. I was listening to a pretty cool conversation. It was a little bit early before jumping on here about Clubhouse, the audio app, and people were saying, how quickly, and even to this day, how it can really consume a lot of your time, where you may have a dedicated amount of time for it, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're like well into a like 2-3 hour conversation, and you don't realize how much time has passed. Okay. And that goes back to what I was saying, is understanding the platforms, and just as a user, how they work, as a consumer, how they work, and making sure that you stay on that content creation side of it. Okay. I was doing a room yesterday, and it was kind of an impromptu room about brand deals and sponsorships. So the room it was like 3-4 people in the room, and we were just kind of having this conversation. And the next thing I know, the room was like, it kept going. And I was like, okay, I got to like figure out a way to get off of this room, because it actually started to grow around the conversation. And if you don't pay attention on social media, you can find yourself not really using it to your advantage. You end up spending more time on there, just wasting it. Okay. So we want to make sure that we're putting out content, that it gets the awareness, it gets the engagement. But if you're using it for business, you got to get people to buy something, right? You can't just be on there for hours and hours and hours and hours, and people aren't buying something, or you're getting them into some type of system where you can sell to them later on. Like, there has to be a real action that takes place. And that's one of the reasons I like YouTube more so now, for me as a quote unquote content creator, because YouTube is one of those platforms where I can create content and it just lives forever. And I can just say it like one time and it just lives forever, and on and on and on. And I don't have to worry about constantly repeating myself, or even being on the platform for hours in one sitting, because no one else is going to be there with you. It's like a one-way conversation, or it's a 5-minute upload video, right? So again, making sure that you understand your platforms, where you're at, and developing a strategy around your content delivery on these platforms. All right, let me check out the comments here. Roz, we're going to have to definitely reschedule to get you on here. Make sure you show up 15 minutes early so we could test from your computer. Um, Justine, good to see you here. The first system you should have is a calendar. Yeah, having a calendar is always a good thing. I use Google Calendar, one of my favorite, and then um, for 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 content creation, having calendars that let you see what content is going to go out. And now is one of the best times of year to really start to plan what that Q1 and Q2 looks like too for social media too, right? Because in business we kind of know our prime seasons for things that we're going to be doing. So if you're in the finance industry, you know that March, April timeframe is like where everybody is trying to get all those taxes and finances done. I think was it March or April is financial literacy month. So if you're in the finance world, you know what's going on throughout the year. Okay. So in the tech space, we know that we have the events like right at the beginning of the year. Then in the spring, we got a lot of new products that come out. And then towards the fall of the year, then you start getting the deals start to show up, like your Black Fridays and Cyber Mondays, all that stuff. So even in this tech space, I know like what that calendar looks like for equipment, so you can plan around that. Okay, so yeah, having a calendar definitely does help. Um, right behind me over here, I have like a calendar here, right? So 2022 calendar already ready to go. So I'm that person that does like digital calendars and real calendars. 'Cause I want to see it visually sometimes a little bit bigger. So I like to keep my big calendar here as well. So I haven't wrote on this one yet, but it will be. All right. All right. Let me see here. Anybody else jump on here on the live here? Let me know if you're here hanging out. Um, Justine says, I still need my paper calendar too. Yeah. It's something about writing it down. I just love the fact that I can just like look at it. I actually have two notebooks, like just off camera there too. Like I just like to write it down and see what's going on. That way in my mind, I know. Miss Rosalind Hill, good to see you here on Facebook. So we're talking about how to get clients using social media. Okay, how to get clients using social media. If you guys have questions around it, let me know. Let me pay some bills real quick. Shout out to Melon for sponsoring, being the official sponsor of these live shows on Mondays that allow me to come on here and just like give you guys a whole bunch of knowledge, answer a whole bunch of questions, and really help you leverage technology and digital social media. They are a live streaming software. So they're what I'm using to go live right now at the same time on YouTube and on Facebook. They're web based. So that means I can use their software from any computer anywhere in the world as long as I have an internet connection. And then I can do graphics on the screen and lower thirds and countdown timers and custom overlays, so I can make the presentation look as fancy as I want to or not as fancy as I want to, but easy to use. That is the key. So if you're looking to start getting started with live streaming, or maybe you're already live streaming but you want another solution, definitely check out Melon at melonapp.live. So they're pinned, the website is pinned here on YouTube, and it's also in the uh, Facebook title message area. So make sure you guys go check them out because they help run this channel every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, so check them out. See, Ross says, do your research before you purchase a system. Yep. Yeah. Because not every system is a good system, and not every system is for everybody. Some systems need to be tweaked to you specifically, right? Let's see. Miss Veronica says, I'm old school. I love my calendar 2022. Yes, keep it old school. Like I don't have the book calendar, but I do have that calendar. I like my nice big desk calendars for sure. All right. So we're talking about how to get clients using social media. All right, how to get clients using social media. I want to answer some questions. So if you guys have some questions, let me know. Even if they're little techie related questions, I'll answer some tech related questions. It's funny how I didn't expect for YouTube to create so many different clients. Like I'll get emails from people that watch my YouTube videos. I never would have thought that would happen. Didn't ever plan for it to happen. But I'll have to respond to people on YouTube that'll send me basically questions that involve my business, but they don't know that I'm like just not a YouTuber, because they'll send the questions like, "Hey, this is just a little small question. Can you help me?" And like, that's what I do for a business. So it's like I'm not just going to freely answer questions. So they become clients of mine, but they don't understand that they're becoming clients of mine. They think they're just like emailing this YouTuber, and they just have all the time in the world to sit there and answer questions all day. And it's like, no, that's not how this works. Like my business is answering questions. Like that's what all that school was for. That's what like going to classes and workshops and all of that is for. And when you're using social media and you're effective with it, you will get clients and business partners and all kinds of collab opportunities from people that will reach out to you. So even having a system, like Ross said, make sure you have a system on just how to manage that, because that's different in itself. Because we all have, if you're in business, you have a way of marketing one way, right? And then if social media is part of your marketing, you have to understand that people are going to contact you through social media. So making sure that you go in and check your Instagram messages, check your LinkedIn messages, check your YouTube comments, right? Check your Clubhouse back channel. So there's all these different ways that people can reach out to you. So we got to make sure that we're actually checking that, because there are going to be potential clients that are going to be there, and they're going to come as a result of you being successful on social media. Now, if it stays empty all the time, chances are you're not doing what it takes to be effective on social media. So we have to go to the drawing board and see what's not working, fix that part of it, and then we get right back to it again. All right. Uh, Ross says, do you think social media is the new networking platform? I think it is. I think it is, partly because social media is an easy, fast way to connect with someone. You can like research someone in real time, real quick, shoot them a message, right? And it starts that conversation. I think the pandemic accelerated that a lot, where people were forced to communicate via online means. So I think it is a great networking piece. I think we're still going to have that in-person experience is still like, you can't compare that, because I know people have loved to get back out to these networking conferences, right? So I don't think anything will replace what that can do, but I know the online space now is definitely here to stay, and it's amazing how many people are starting these communities and knowing people and connecting with people that they have never met in person online, right? One of the platforms that I'm looking at for next year to kind of put some systems in place for collaborations, they're heavily focused on community. And I promise, like, none of these people are going to meet each other in person, like, unless they just happen to be in the exact same industry and go to a conference. But just being able to collaborate and network with people online is definitely here to stay. It definitely won't take away from in-person networking, but online networking is just so fast to do these days. And I'm one of those people that like it, because I don't have to spend an hour at the coffee shop to network with someone, right? Anybody get clients, or you go to these go get coffee, right? Is the pitch, right? Hey, let's go get some coffee and let's talk. And then next thing you know, spend like 3 hours and nothing comes of it, right? Or it goes in their direction versus going in your direction. So it's like, I don't like those. So I love how we are networking more so online, because I can very quickly say yes or no, or like just get to the point. You can do a little bit homework on them while they're talking to you on that Zoom call, because you can just go look at the social media profile and kind of see whether or not they have some legitimacy to them or not, or you just go in the opposite direction and you just run. Um, what else we got in here? Ad campaigns don't replace engagement. Yeah, ad campaigns are a little bit different. Uh, yeah, ad campaigns are a little bit different. And I'm interested to see the evolution of what they become too, because even like the commercials now on TV have changed. So I'm kind of wanting to see what's going to happen here. We got all kinds of things coming out with the metaverse and 3D, 4D, and holograms. Like there's so many different technologies coming about, cryptos, like things are really, really changing. So even the advertisements on social, I'm looking forward to see what changes evolve because of how fast everything has essentially just been accelerated. So things are like constantly moving, right? And as business owners and entrepreneurs and ministry leaders, we have to pay attention to what's happening, because otherwise you get left behind. And if you get left behind, it's going to be a hard struggle to keep up and try to catch back up. So not knowing everything, not having to know everything in all its detail, right? But enough to be relevant and stay relevant, right? If somebody says crypto and you still don't know what it is at all, like, and you haven't done any research at all, like, you're behind. You got to come in and catch up a little bit, just so somebody doesn't just come and pull the wool over your eyes, right? You got to have some type of knowledge of